Sometimes you might come to the unfortunate realization that you are completely overworked, and you'll experience what is called burnout. Unfortunately, this realization oftentimes comes at a really inconvenient moment in your life, and it may feel like it's too late for this realization, and oftentimes it is later than it should have been. Burnout is something that, if everybody could prevent, it wouldn't be talked about. It wouldn't be so detrimental. But sometimes you become a little bit too ambitious, or you bite off more than you can chew, and you'll just get burnt out without even realizing it. And then eventually, you're just going so slowly and trying your best to keep moving forward, and it just simply doesn't work how you want it to. Now, my point in talking about this is not because I'm getting burnt out or anything, but the point is I have been burnt out before, and I'm going to take this video to offer some advice to those of you out there who maybe are in similar situations as me, where you're doing college and it gets busy sometimes, or you're in high school and it also gets busy sometimes. Trust me, I was a high schooler once, and I was doing all the extracurricular activities, doing a bunch of side hobbies, and it got pretty stressful at some points in time. But that's not to say that it can't be done. It's to say that it can be done in a healthy way. And if you're not doing it in a healthy way, it can be pretty bad for you. So let me start off by saying this. I'm not burnt out right now. That is not the point of this video. Although the intro may have seemed like I'm about to tell you I'm quitting YouTube or something, but no, I am not. If I were burnt out right now, I probably wouldn't be running the channel. Probably wouldn't be practicing trombone. Probably wouldn't be continuing my music making endeavors. And I probably wouldn't be able to do any of this with a smile on my face. But here I am, and I'm happy. But that's because I've taken the steps to avoid this dreaded burnout. And while it is a quite negative thing, I do want to preface this by saying it is normal. Burnout happens to many people, if not everybody, at some point in their life. And that being said, it is preventable. The more awareness we spread of this kind of thing, the better we can treat ourselves, the better we can take care of our bodies, and the better we can function in our lives. For me, I was always given the warnings when going into my music major. You should take time for yourself. You should make sure you're sleeping, make sure you're eating, make sure you're drinking enough water. And I was like, yeah, I got all that, and then I forgot. It's very easy to forget those things when you're so hyper focused on one task within your life. And so it can kind of get boggled in your mind. You kind of forget where your head is at, what your priorities are, and that's okay. Sometimes you forget how to prioritize your life. I mean, it's not okay, but it happens. Don't feel bad on top of the feeling bad, if you get what I'm trying to say there. So my point is it's normal. I've got my notes set up over here, so I'm going to be glancing this way. Yeah, it's a little bit of a touchy subject because it's like it can be so negative, but it is really negative. I mean, burnout is just it sucks, and it hurts in some ways. I guess it depends on what kind of burnout it is you're experiencing. But let me just start with my story. Let me just tell you how I experienced this. You may remember, if you are a longer time follower of this channel, I made a video back in some month before spring semester ended, and it was called "Where is the Anime Trombonist?" Because at the time, I had gone a little absent for like a couple weeks, maybe a month or so, and it was right after my Elfin Lied video. After that, I was like, God, I don't want to do anything right now, and the reason is, starting out, I was a double major in college, and I was doubling majoring in music and math. Two very similar subjects in terms of content and understanding. Like music goes with math in many different ways, and math coincides with music in many different ways. But that's a whole spiel I can go on some other time. Unfortunately, in terms of coursework and course load, there was not a lot of overlap in my curriculum. So I was having to complete two different 4-year degrees at the same time, but a lot of the classes were not mixing. Most people go for double majors in similar fields. For example, if you're getting if you're getting a degree in some sort of STEM class, or sorry, STEM degree. If you're getting some sort of STEM degree, you can oftentimes go with another STEM degree and double your major so that you can get 2 degrees at the same time. But that's a lot of the times, like engineering majors will do that with math, or maybe they'll do it with another type of engineering. I don't know. The point is, a lot of the classes that you're taking for one also apply to the next degree on the other one. So like when you take one class, it gives a credit to one and the other. So you're kind of like double dipping classes. But for the case of music, the only time that applies for me was core classes. So it's like English, basic mathematics, and like some science, some I don't know what else. Technical writing? No, that didn't even apply for music majors. That was just a math thing. So I got lucky with some like overlap, but at the same time, it was just simply too much. I think at the time that I had made that video, I was taking somewhere between 18 to 20 hours. But that didn't include my outside practice time, my outside ensemble meeting times, which might have been a few. I can't remember exactly what ensembles I was in at that time. Let's see, it was spring of 21. So I was probably in a brass quintet, a trombone quartet, and trombone choir. Ooh, who knows? Yeah, I can't remember exactly right now. But the point is, there were quite a few ensembles I was in, and we were meeting multiple times a week. And if we weren't, it was still once a week. I don't know. It was outside the hours on paper. If you, like I was taking 18 hours, but really I was doing 6 extra hours of work outside of those hours, I guess. I don't know the exact math. But I was doing a lot. That's the point. I went I rambled on too fast, or too much for that. See, that's why these guy talk to camera videos are so dangerous. Anyways, so I got into a point where I was taking all of those classes, one of which being abstract algebra. I was taking physics. I was taking the physics lab as well. I was doing all my music classes also at the same time. So that included music theory and ear training, oral skills, and my ensembles. So abstract algebra, I think, was the blunt of, like, the bulk of my stress source, because that was the first time I had not truly grasped a math class. Because back in high school, it was like calculus, pre-cal, trigonometry, geometry, all that stuff. It really clicked in my brain. And that's not to like brag or anything, because I know a lot of people struggle with math, and there are definite reasons behind that. But for some reason, for me, those things just clicked, and I understood them really well. But once I got to this abstract algebra, things were coming at me that I was not understanding. I was failing my homeworks. I was like barely understanding lectures. My mind was there, but I struggled so much with one thing that the professor said that minutes later he had moved on to another subject, and I'm like still trying to process what he said over here. Things were not good. And eventually I just needed to stop doing everything. Luckily for me, this burnout came towards the end of the semester. I mean, I still had several weeks of school left in the semester before I could finally call summer break official. Um, but a lot of different things got me through that time, most of which were my friends in my trombone quartet. If you haven't already, go follow us on Instagram. We're the Quasar Trombone Quartet. Best group of guys I have met. Wonderful, wonderful people, and they really helped me through my time of burnout. And they understood it because they're also music majors and they've probably experienced very similar things. Um, so, yeah, that's kind of my story and my experience with it. Um, and this semester, too, I thought I had learned my lesson and I thought I could dial back on the things that stressed me out, and I did. But I still, experienced a little bit of burnout. Um, Not to the point that I wanted to just give up on this like music major life or anything. It really is driving into my head like, oh dang, I do need to make sure that I'm not overbooked all the time or like working on something all the time. Um, it's really important to recognize what your limits are. And for me, it's been a long time in the running knowing what my limits are. So let me start off with this in terms of advice. Take time for yourself. You don't owe anybody anything. Um, I had a point in this semester where I was super stressed and I was just kind of going with it. I didn't think I could do anything about it. Um, I wasn't getting enough sleep. I wasn't eating enough. Um, I was dedicating too much of my time to things that weren't taking care of my own physical health. And if that happens, your body will eventually say, you're done. Like, you will not physically be able to go to school for a couple days. My body hit me with one of the thickest sinus infections I've experienced to date. And it was like, hey, guess what? You can't get out of bed. And it was like a Thursday morning or something when I woke up with a bunch of COVID symptoms. I was so scared I wasn't going to be able to go to school. I had a concert like a week and a half after that. And I was like, oh my, if I have COVID, I can't go to school for a couple weeks. I will not be able to make that concert and it's going to be really bad. Luckily, it was not COVID. I got tested as soon as I woke up. I scheduled the testing. There's a testing site on campus. Went over there, got my test. But because it took several days for the test to come back, at least 48 hours, that meant I was done with school for at that time. Like I couldn't rehearse. I couldn't go to classes. And honestly, it was for the better. I couldn't go to work. It was for the better. My body eventually said, hey, you really need to take a break. And this is going to be your break, whether you like it or not. So that Thursday and Friday, I didn't go to anything. Didn't do anything. Saturday, there was a jazz festival going on that I really would have loved to attend, but as I was not able to breathe a lot because my sinuses were so inflamed, I found it not the best idea to go outside. So I missed it. But I felt really guilty about it for some reason. And someone told me, like, hey, you can just turn your phone off for a couple hours. Like, at the time, I was also, like, constantly checking my schedule, like, addictively, neurotically checking my schedule. It was really unhealthy. Someone was like, you can just turn that thing off for a couple hours. You don't owe every hour of your day to society. You can have your own time to just stop being connected, And I think that's really important. Taking the time for yourself and understanding that your time is yours. And if you choose to do outside things with it, connect with the outside, do like activities with other people, all that stuff, schedule a bunch of things, have a full schedule. That's up to you. That's your choice. But it's also your choice to not do those things. Sometimes I personally feel obligated to participate in as much as I can. And while there is some merit to that, Um, I also need to recognize my limits. So, yeah, there's that. And I hope that that can resonate with somebody. Um, I wouldn't say that all of this is the same for everybody. Um, I think that's a little bit of the introverted side of me. I think I'm definitely an extrovert, but there might be some introvertive tendencies that I have that I haven't fully embraced yet, I guess. Um, I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it. That's what all this is. It's all progress. It's all getting better, whatever you need for yourself. Um, Find something that's your fallback hobby. And these could be multiple things. Yeah, so for example, I love playing chess. That's just something I like to do in my free time. I'll study chess. I'll learn some things. I'll take a couple hours, and not a couple hours, but like maybe an hour and a half, just to sit and do nothing but play chess, analyze my games, play more chess. And it's really relaxing for me. It's just something I really like to do. Also, other things like that are video games. I mean, I've got this computer and I play video games on it. So I like that. Doing those types of things for a little bit helps me ground myself, reel myself in, and just flush away all the stress and all that stuff. Like de-stress. That's a word. That there's a word for what I'm trying to describe. It is de-stress. So I highly recommend having some sort of fallback hobby. That like if everything you're doing on your main thing, like music is a hobby of mine, but it's also like the thing I do every day. Um, I guess it's not a hobby then. I don't what defines hobby? I don't know. But music, I guess it used to be a hobby. Like it'd be high school, get good grades, and then music was a side thing. But now my school and getting good grades does revolve around the music making. So that's my main thing. So my fallback hobbies should generally be something away from music. There are different ways that I can make music and have that be a way to de-stress from the music of my day. That's kind of why I compose. Or this channel. This is also another way. Um, so it's another way to continue getting better at my craft, but also just kind of taking a step back, I guess. I'm not sure I'm explaining all of this the greatest, but I'm hoping it's getting across. So if you have this kind of fallback hobby, I think it can be really useful. It can be really healing, depending on your circumstances. Um, Take breaks, eat, sleep, or you will get sick. Yeah, I wrote that down, but I already used the example of me getting sick and literally not being able to do anything. Like again, I might as well just say it again because it's really, really important. Your body will tell you to stop. And if you do not listen to it, it will stop without your consent. And it's tough. Not great. Comes at really inconvenient times. So, yeah. Plan your breaks. Make sure you adhere to your breaks. And if you're overloaded, talk to somebody. Like I said, my quartet was really helpful. Me being able to talk to them was a blessing. And also, I can, my school is a great environment. It's a great music school. And so a lot of people on the administrative side, professors, faculty, all that stuff, they all understand to some degree burnout. Whether they've experienced full force what it is or they've had a little bit of it, they understand. It's part of like a teacher's job. I personally believe to understand if their students are getting burnt out. And it's they're not a therapist or anything, but they can still help you manage that kind of stuff. My professors at the school are always talking about like, if you get overloaded, if this thing becomes too much for you, then make sure you tell someone before it gets too bad. Because it can get really bad for some people. Take that how you will. The levels vary for different individuals. So the severity of it can also vary for different individuals. But that being said, definitely talk to someone if you feel like you need to, whether it be just venting about your stress or talking to someone about doing less things, doing less activities. Um, like, I don't know. Again, it differs for each person what that means. But find out what that means for you and try and do that. For what it means for me is going forward. I'm currently on break, so I'm happy. This is winter break for me. I don't start school for another month, and once that month ends, I'm going to be back into it. However, I've already planned out my schedule for next semester, and I'm going to make absolute sure I have breaks. And what I'm thinking about doing is implementing a daily schedule with everything I do in the day. And for me, before, schedules like Google Calendar, I use Google Calendar. That would only include my classes, my rehearsals, and anything I had to do, like appointments or anything. But I'm thinking some people do this and it can be helpful for them. For me, it seemed like it was going to stress me out, but I want to try it a little bit. I want to try it and see how it is. At this point, I'm just kind of talking out loud. I don't really have anything else to talk about for this. But yeah, maybe scheduling everything you do, like wake up at this time, eat, go to class, warm up on instrument, have lunch or whatever, schedule everything on your calendar and try your best to adhere to that. But if you can't adhere to it exactly, that's understandable. Nobody is a robot. Nobody's going to be able to do minute by minute recounts of their day. Oh man, I'm making noises. I'm sorry. Yeah, nobody's a robot. But it might help you to kind of standardize your day. I don't know. I'm gonna try it. If anything pertinent comes up, I might produce my finals to y'all. Findings. It's all right. Final week is over. Don't have to think about finals. I might tell you guys my findings about the whole schedule thing, if you're interested. And if you guys have any tips for dealing with burnout, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comments, because I'm always looking for new ways to manage my stress and not get burnt out. This advice has all been about preventing burnout, in case that wasn't said before. I should really start writing scripts. These videos seem to be scatterbrained a lot. But yeah, burnout is a... Sorry, my OBS was just telling me that I started streaming, but I didn't start streaming. Twitch is not alive right now. Okay, I think I've said all I want to say. Burnout is rough. Deal with it in a healthy way. And don't get burnt out. Take time for yourself. Be healthy. And if you aren't, your body will make you stop. So, hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you have anything you want to add or have questions or comments, whatever, leave them below. And good talk.